Here are 4 things that I believe will prepare you to be a better investor. The first thing to do is definitely to make sure that you have enough money to invest. So if you have $500 to invest, that's a pretty good start, but just make sure that you're saving up as much as you possibly can before you finally pull the trigger. Saving is not the only option. Many people can get access to investment capital where they learn how to get access to capital specifically for investments. And so they're able to access this capital and then use it for different strategies and different investment opportunities that then generate cash flow, right? We have monthly cash flow, and they use that cash flow to pay off those credit cards or those lines of credit that they get. So there's multiple different ways that you can get access to funding. Some people get credit cards, some people get lines of credit, some people get loans, right? And then some people also get specific funding for investments. Some people get specific funding for trading. Some people get specific funding for online stores. Some people get specific funding for like oil wells, like so many different things that they can get funding for. And it's all done through strategic partners in the industry. They understand that the first thing that they can do in order to be more prepared as an investor, they have enough capital. If you need to make $10,000 a month or $100,000 a month, you need to know what your returns are and then how much you're going to invest in order to generate those returns. Now, the second thing that I believe every investor should do in order to be more prepared and become a better investor is to find a network of people that are already doing what you want to do. As investors, we all have different hopes and dreams. Some people simply want to make cash flow. Some people want to invest into companies or projects or different things that are just going to grow in value, right? That's just called growth investing. Maybe they just like that process. And then eventually when that owner exits or pays out his investors, they're making money in the long run. They're not really concerned about cash flow because they're probably pretty financially stable and they just want to invest into companies and different projects and different things that they personally either think are cool or they think that they're going to generate a really, really nice return for them. These people will often target specific projects in industries that they're comfortable with or they might like, and then they invest a certain amount of capital into each one of those projects, and not all of them are going to work out, right? So there's definitely a risk there, but some of them do end up working out, and the ones that do will often produce a really, really high return, and that allows investors to capitalize on that. Obviously, you don't have the monthly cash flow or quarterly cash flow like you would with a cash flow investment, but with a cash flow investment, sometimes it is higher risk, and sometimes you do have to have more capital on hand to deploy into one of these investments. Once you've decided whether you want to be a growth investor or a cash flow investor, you want to find people who are already doing what you want to do. So if you want to generate $10,000 a month, find somebody who's generating $20,000 a month or $100,000 a month, and find out what steps they're taking in order to make that happen. Now, once you've learned what they're doing, you can then duplicate that in your own investment portfolio. If you take your investment portfolio and you compare it to what they're doing, you can do just a simple gap analysis. Okay, I'm invested into XYZ, but they're over here invested into A, B, and C. Now do a gap analysis. What's different there? Why are they investing in those things and I'm not? Why am I investing into these things and they're not, right? You want to understand what the difference is between the two portfolios. There's definitely going to be something to learn there. And once you've learned that, that will allow you to get to that level that they're at. Not saying that every single person who's making more money than you is smarter and has the right answer. However, a lot of times they're making a lot more money because they've invested into smarter things. Once you're able to identify what characteristics they're looking for, you can duplicate that in your own portfolio and invest into similar projects and hopefully make similar money or more than they are. So of course, that's number 2. So the first one, again, make sure you have enough capital, right? That's our first step of preparation as investors. The second step is building a network that can guide us down the right path. The third thing is knowledge. So you want to have the knowledge that you need, and a lot of times it's just background knowledge, in order to understand how an investment works and why it works. So of course, we can never predict 100% that an investment is going to work. However, we can do our due diligence and we can do our research and we can find out, hey, what's the probability of success with this investment? Do I think without a shadow of a doubt that it's going to perform? Do I believe There's a 10% chance that it's going to perform. What would you say is the chance of that investment performing? If it's anything less than 80%, I would definitely be cautious about it. So if you have an 80% chance or higher of that investment performing, you getting paid out, you get your cash flow, you get paid out at the end, whatever it is, right? Whatever the model is, we want to make sure that we have at least an 80% success rate. So if we have an 80% chance or 80% likelihood or probability of that investment paying us out, then it makes sense to invest in it. I personally would invest into something that has an 80% chance of working out. That's high enough for me. Now, if I really like the investment and it has maybe a 70% chance or a 60% chance, I may still consider it, but that's kind of like a borderline for me. It's really situation specific. So I want to make sure that I'm maximizing my portfolio by investing into things that are going to be performing or that are very likely to perform. I can never predict investments 100%, but I can get pretty close to that. I want to get as close as possible by predicting based on previous track records, right? And then eventually trying to predict some sort of future performance out of that, just for myself, not for anybody else. But I want to have an idea of what I can expect with an investment and when I can expect to make cash flow. Now, the fourth thing that you should do as an investor in order to be more prepared and to have a higher chance or higher probability of being successful with an investment is to do your due diligence. Now, me personally, I love to fly out in person to do my due diligence. I know some people like to do it digitally, but for me, if I believe an investment is important and I believe that that investment can actually be a large and significant part of my portfolio, I will oftentimes fly out and check it out in person. And so once I fly there, I can do really good due diligence. I can meet the owners, I can understand what their investment philosophies are, I can see their vision for the project. And if I'm still connecting to that project and that vision and I really believe in what they're doing, and oftentimes, guys, you're investing into the owner or the operator of the investment. There are so many similar investments out there that you really have to choose based on the operator. I could look at 10 different operators and they're all investing into the same thing, and I will have a clear winner between them because I know what I'm looking for in an investment operator. I know who's usually able to perform well with their investments. Even if everybody's using the same platform, some people will be significantly more successful than others. And that's just based on how they operate, their work ethic, their philosophies, right? So you have to make sure you know who you're working with. To do your due diligence, not just on the investment, but also on the person that's going to be operating your investment. You want to make sure that that person aligns with your beliefs, your philosophies, and you have to believe that they have the ability to execute on it, because there are so many good ideas out in the world. But those ideas can only become valuable when somebody puts them into action, sets them in motion, and begins executing based on that idea. All right, guys, those are the 4 things that you need to do in order to be a more prepared and hopefully a more profitable investor. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.